You've already spent hundreds to stay at a Disney World hotel, so how are you going to save money on dining? Well, by eating at the best budget-friendly restaurants Disney has to offer, of course. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we're continuing our restaurant rankings today by ranking every single budget restaurant in the Disney World hotels. Now, notice I said budget restaurants because there are so many Disney World restaurants throughout all the Disney-owned hotels. We're making this into a 3-part series because you know what? I could not sit here and record a 4-hour video for you. I don't think either of us would be happy. So you're not going to see any table service or signature dining restaurants on this list. That'll be for another day. Instead, I'm going to rank all the counter service and kiosks around the hotels where you can potentially grab something quick and save a buck or two in the process. I'm also going to throw pool bars into the mix just because they are important too. We need our quick poolside drinks. And honestly, some of these pool bars are pretty impressive. So rankings are going to be based on a scale of 1 being almost inedible to 10, so edible you want to marry it. But keep in mind this is all subjective, which is why I'm listing pros and cons for each place to give you a good idea about how you might feel about a certain restaurant, separate from my opinion. And if you want to keep hold of this list while you start planning your list of must-eats, we'll send you a free PDF of this entire ranking. Just drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/budgeteats, and we'll send a digital copy of everything I talk about here straight to your inbox. All right, let's get eating. We're starting at Disney's Contemporary Resort at Contempo Cafe. Now, Contemporary Resort has a lot of restaurants ranging from nice, really nice, and straight up bougie, but its Contempo Cafe quick service is quaint. You can pick up a speedy meal here with options like flatbread, salads, and sandwiches, but the highlight of this place is going to be their little bakery display case, which features both seasonal and traditional desserts. Pros on this one, best for desserts on the go, also best for those at the Contemporary who don't have time for a sit-down meal. Whenever I'm staying at the Contemporary, I eat so many chicken nuggets from here, you'd think I would turn into a chicken nugget. Now, the food here is relatively good. They've got a good variety. They've got lots of food for picky eaters. Cons, food isn't anything to write home about necessarily. And they even have some fancier sandwiches and flatbreads, so definitely good options here. The biggest con of Contempo Cafe is going to be that you're going to be able to hear all the rambunctiousness happening over at Chef Mickey's since there's no dividing wall between the two restaurants really. So things are going to get really noisy here. This is in the middle of what's called the Grand Canyon Concourse, and it is loud. But you can watch the monorails pass by through the building, which is pretty cool. Overall, Contempo Cafe gets an 8 out of 10 from me. Okay, Contemporary grounds. Now, I love that the Contemporary has their own little coffee shop. There aren't any major bells and whistles here. It's just a corner cafe that serves up Joffrey's coffee and a small selection of pastries. Oh, and if you want to add a bit of fun to your morning pick-me-up, you can also order your coffee with some Disney-inspired latte art, because why not? Pros here, nice spot for Contemporary guests to get their caffeine fix. This is mostly for those going over to the convention center, honestly. And cons, drinks aren't super special, just your standard Joffrey's options that you can find at other Joffrey's kiosks. Overall, 6.5 out of 10, but super, super useful if you don't want to wait in long lines in the parks for your coffee. Okay, next to Contemporary. If you're in the pool area of Bay Lake Tower at Disney's Contemporary Resort, you'll be able to access the Cove Bar. And near the Contemporary Resort's marina and pool area, you'll be able to access the Sand Bar. Heads up. Bay Lake Tower is the Disney Vacation Club part of Disney's Contemporary Resort. That's the Cove Bar. And the regular Contemporary Resort pool, that's the Sand Bar. Each pool bar serves up a super small selection of bites, but their main priority is to make sure you've got a cocktail, wine, beer, or non-alcoholic beverage in your hand. Pros is, of course, drinks. Cons, the Cove Bar won't be available for you if you're not staying at Bay Lake Tower, since the pool area is only accessible via key card. Overall, these are both going to be about a 5 out of 10. And I'm going to note also that there is a candy counter at Buena Vista Gifts, BVG, in the Contemporary on the 4th floor Grand Canyon Concourse. It's basically the same stuff you're going to find at the Main Street Confectionery and at Goofy's Candy Co. in Disney Springs, but it's a good place to grab kind of a cupcake or a piece of fudge or something like that. That's going to be right in that gift shop, which is a weird place for it to be, but there it is. Okay, we're headed to Disney's Wilderness Lodge, right on the other side of Bay Lake, and we're going to start at Geyser Point Bar and Grill. In a hotel where comfort foods are all the rage, Geyser Point is an underrated gem. For starters, you have the power to decide whether you want to experience this open-air restaurant as a quick service or table service. It's like choose your own adventure, with different options on each menu depending on what you decide. The small bites and rustic fare are available daily until 10 p.m., with options like handcrafted cheese and charcuterie, shrimp on a wire, which is way overpriced FYI, and the bison cheeseburger, which is much better than you think it's going to be. One of our favorites. And of course, don't forget about the bar portion of this lounge. You've got a full bar here, which includes specialty cocktails you can sip on while enjoying that sparkling lakeside view. Now, I have eaten here on one of those rare instances when Orlando temperatures can get chilly, and I wouldn't recommend that because it's mostly outdoors, even though they do have some kind of flimsy walls they can pull down. But Geyser Point does have heat lamps just in case you're still wanting to enjoy this comfy, cozy atmosphere midwinter. Now, this place does have absolutely stunning views over Bay Lake, and it is a great place to watch the sunset. Pros: quick and table service options for eaters on the go or vacationers taking it slow. Price points aren't as steep as they are at other Wilderness Lodge options, and it's a beautiful outdoor location. Cons: the dining options here are good, but there's not really a lot of them, and they're a little overpriced. The kids menu is very limited, and it can get chilly during Orlando's random cold spells. But overall, this is an 8 out of 10. We love this place. Okay, time for some good old American comfort food. Roaring Fork is a rustic themed restaurant, which makes sense because this is Wilderness Lodge we're talking about here, and serves on-the-go meals like chicken and waffles, 10-hour smoked pulled pork sandwiches, and western chicken strips with apple barbecue sauce on the side. They also serve chicken and waffles all day long, but they aren't just any chicken and waffles. They're Mickey-shaped ones with pecan butter, and they're really good. So, is Roaring Fork the best barbecue you're going to find in Disney? Not in the slightest. We still vastly prefer Flame Tree Barbecue in Disney's Animal Kingdom and Regal Eagle Smokehouse in Epcot, and of course Polite Pig over there in Disney Springs. That being said, there's a fun and different variety here with plenty of seasonal desserts to go along with the main plates. For a real special treat, grab yourself a magic cookie bar for a rich chocolatey bakery item topped with coconut, sprinkles, and butterscotch chips. These are pretty standard 7-layer bars, but they are truly outstanding. Who doesn't love a 7-layer bar? And if you're a guest at Wilderness Lodge, this quick service will be a nice, affordable, and nearby option for you. But if you aren't a guest here, there's no use making that long trek across the lake just to eat here. Pros: a consistent rotating variety of seasonal desserts, and you can see Fire Rock Geyser from the windows of this restaurant, and if you're dining on the hour, you'll even get to see the geyser erupt. And cons: there's better barbecue that can be found at other Disney restaurants, so just kind of consider this your quick service at your hotel. And it's a very limited kids menu here as well. Overall, gonna give this one a 7 out of 10. All right, we're headed over to Disney's All-Star Resort. Now, this is going to be mostly food court dining and a couple of pool bars, right? So Disney's All-Star Resorts each have their own personality. You've got All-Star Sports, All-Star Movies, and All-Star Music, which are each pretty on the nose in terms of theming. They also have uniquely themed food courts. All-Star Music has Intermission Food Court, All-Star Sports has End Zone Food Court, and All-Star Movies has World Premiere Food Court. But despite the different names, the food choices are pretty much the same across the board, with maybe a different seasonal dessert or secret menu items sprinkled here and there to make their options slightly stand out from one another. Each food court serves very standard meals like pizza, chicken tenders, burgers, but picky eaters will more than likely really appreciate the variety of familiar eats. The All-Star food courts stay open later until 11 p.m., just in case your group accidentally misses out on dinner while hitting up every little nook and cranny of the parks, which is awfully considerate of them. So if you're staying at one of the All-Star resorts, the food courts will leave the light on for you as you make your way home. Pros here: quick, affordable, and stays open late, and great for picky eaters who want to dine on familiar foods. Cons: this is more of a last resort or we don't have time for anything else meal. You're not going to experience fine dining here, though there are some hidden gems every once in a while, and it's not really best for those looking for something more adventurous. Overall, these food courts are going to get a 6 out of 10 from us. Now, again, gotta group the All-Star pool bars together because they'll each accomplish the same goal despite their different theming. They're going to provide you with a tall beverage to enjoy as you lounge the afternoon away and maybe do a little laundry. All-Star Movies has the Silver Screen Spirits Pool Bar, All-Star Music has the Singing Spirits Pool Bar, and All-Star Sports has the Grandstand Spirits Pool Bar. Each serves up fun and fruity margaritas, frosés, refreshing mixed drinks, beers, etc. Pros: not gonna go thirsty, that's for sure. Cons: nothing exciting here. These are all pretty common drinks you can find anywhere else, and I'm not just talking Disney, I mean anywhere else. Overall, this is gonna be a 5 out of 10. Okay, heading over to Disney's Art of Animation Resort, we're going to start at Landscape of Flavors. The next two value resorts aren't grouped in with the All-Stars because they're just different enough for me to talk about them a little more in depth. So let's start with Landscape of Flavors Food Court at Art of Animation. Landscape still has those standard options like the All-Star Resort food courts have, with a few unique flavors thrown in the mix, like shrimp and grits, sesame chicken stir-fry, and the signature pimento bacon cheeseburger. Again, you're not looking at the best meals of all time here, but you will find late-night dining and a nice selection of options for a variety of eaters, plus tons of seating. Now, I remember when Landscape of Flavors first opened back in 2012. It had a Landscape of Flavors. There was a lot more going on here, a lot more interesting stuff happening than is here now. And that often happens with Disney restaurants when they first open. They're very ambitious and adventurous, and then they just sort of all go down to the lowest common denominator. And that's sort of what happened here at Landscape of Flavors. There's still some interesting, unique stuff on the menu, but it's not nearly as adventurous as it used to be. So pros, much like the All-Star food courts, it's quick, affordable, and open late, and a few different options from the All-Star menus give this food court the upper hand. Cons, food is not as great as you want it to be. It's definitely lost quality since it opened 10 years ago, but again, it gets the job done. And if you're wanting a more fun and vibrant late night dining option, it might be worth a separate trip over to Disney Springs for a little more variety. Overall, 6 out of 10. Okay, the drop-off in the Finding Nemo movie, scary stuff. The drop-off pool bar near the big blue pool, sweet, sweet relief from the sun and your screaming kiddos. The drop-off pool bar does have standard alcoholic beverages, but it also offers a few different options too, like the rum-based seafoam refresher, the vodka-based Big Blue Ocean that comes with everyone's favorite combo, blue curacao and a glow cube, and the non-alcoholic lava smoothie with raspberry puree blended with flavors of coconut and pineapple, which you can get pretty much at every pool bar in under a different name potentially. Now, you're more than welcome to take a seat around the shaded bar, or you can go back and brave the masses by taking your drink to go and enjoying it by the busy pool. So pros here, never fear, Glow Cube specialty drinks are here. Cons, only a couple snack options, but nothing too substantial to go along with your beverage. You're going to have to go over to Landscape of Flavors for that. Overall, 6 out of 10. Next, we're headed over to Disney's Pop Century Resort. We're going to start at Everything Pop Food Court. This is the last value resort food court in our list. Along with the standard food court options, Everything Pop also has some unique items like the cheddar cheeseburger or that super fun looking tie-dye cheesecake that kids and kids at heart are gonna love, as long as they love cheesecake, that is. Now, that is an original option from Pop Century. The shape has changed a little bit, but the tie-dye cheesecake, this is the only place you can get it. Now, once again, at Pop Century's food court, you've lost some of the original unique stuff, same as you have kind of over at Landscape of Flavors. Does anybody remember the mom's TV dinners that used to be served in those little kind of aluminum foil platters? It was super fun. That's what they had when they launched, but we haven't seen them in a very, very long time. But the theming here is bold and interesting. For some, it may feel rather dated instead of giving off those blast from the past vibes, but you can chime in the comments on how you feel about the theme at Everything Pop. Pros on this one, a selection of more unique options that other food courts may not feature. And I've said it once, I'll say it again, quick, affordable, open late. Cons here, atmosphere could feel dated. If you're not keen on the video game nostalgia vibes going on here, expect to not really love the theme. Food is food, and most of it is what you'll find at most other standard quick service locations, so expect plenty for picky eaters, not much for adventurous ones. Overall, 5.5 out of 10. Now, Petals Pool Bar is the grooviest and most far out Disney pool bar around. Though the Petals Pool Bar has lots of brightly colored flowers all over this kiosk, it could easily be grouped in with the All-Star Pool Bars. This place serves up traditional poolside drinks with the occasional seasonal sip here and there. They do have a couple of Pop Century inventions like the hula hoop over here and the lava lamp. Pros are that it's bright and cheery and as colorful as the beverage in your hand, unless you choose a beer, then ignore me. Cons, it's pretty typical, very much in the same vein as the other value resort pool bars. Overall, 6 out of 10. All right, moving over to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, we're headed to the Mara first. Now, AKL is one of my favorite hotels to go to for unique and interesting menus at every single restaurant. This is one of my favorite resorts for food in general, maybe even my favorite resort for food. I think this one and the Polynesian Village Resort kind of battle for that top spot in my mind, but honestly, probably Animal Kingdom Lodge is going to win. Even the Mara, aka the quick service oasis at Animal Kingdom Lodge, is a golden restaurant child. See, this isn't isn't your typical resort quick service. Can you find standard items here like chicken tenders and cheese flatbreads? Usually, but you can also choose from a more unique selection like Marrakesh falafel platters, the tamarind barbecue pork sandwich, or the braai chicken flatbread. And surprise, surprise, you can find zebra domes here too. You can pick up a pre-box set of 4 for $4.59. Or maybe you'd rather have that Nyala brownie, right? Yeah, not Nala. I got it. You got it. We got it. With the dreamiest, creamiest peanut butter cream. Also a very solid choice. One of my favorites. The biggest problem with the Mara is the fact that it's going to be out of the way for most Disney guests unless you're staying directly at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. So if you really are trying to look for something on the go, it may not be worth it to go out of your way to grab a bite here, but if you're kind of like a Disney food fan like me, sometimes it's worth it to go out of your way to grab a bite here. Just saying. Pros, unique quick service options, not just a bunch of the same old, and then you do have some of the same old, but you don't always have to choose it. And there's delicious bakery items aplenty. They do a really, really good job with some unique bakery items here. Cons, it is out of the way for a lot of Disney guests. If you're not staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you're not going to just randomly pass by it on your way someplace else. It's a destination place. And there's a limited selection of kids menu options. Overall though, this is an 8 out of 10. Headed outside to the Uzima Springs Pool Bar. Whether you need a drink before swimming, after swimming, or in a break between swimming, Uzima Springs is going to provide you with a full but pretty standard bar menu and a selection of prepackaged snacks. Though the offerings here are pretty much those run-of-the-mill mixed drinks, as well as those African beers and a few South African wines, which help it stand out from other pool bars on property. Its thatched roof design and umbrellaed seating arrangement makes it feel like a rather adventurous hideaway. It's at least got a little bit more to offer than those value resort pool bars. And of course, the flamingos are nearby, and that's always fun. Pros, typical drinks with unique wines and beers thrown in the mix. In the past, they've had some interesting eats here too. Sometimes you could even order private dining poolside. Now, private dining hasn't returned to this resort since the closures, so that is not an option right now, but keep an eye open for maybe food coming back, fingers crossed. Now, if you're looking for a bigger selection of drinks, you should hit up one of the lounges like Victoria Falls or Cape Town, which are just inside the building instead, though you can't wear your bathing suit in there, or at least I wouldn't recommend it. Overall, this is going to get a 7 out of 10. And Magi Pool Bar, another pool bar. Yes, a typical pool bar, far from it. Magi Pool Bar is one of my favorite poolside spots. It not only has a wide variety of drinks, both alcoholic and non, it also has snacks and entrees. Magi is over at Kidani Village, whereas Uzima Springs is at Jumbo House. And Magi features seasonal desserts like brownies, cupcakes, and cookies, alongside more filling options like the Kenya coffee barbecued sandwich and the lemon caper tuna salad. Now, why do they have eats here at the Magi Pool Bar and not at Uzima Springs? Well, Uzima Springs is right next to the Mara, whereas the Magi Pool Bar is right next to a whole lot of nothing when it comes to counter service dining at Kidani Village. So you don't have access to any quick eats when you're at the pool over there at Kidani Village, and so this is pretty much it for you. But it's a pretty good option if I do say so myself. That said, I wouldn't trade the Mara for it. I will say that. Pros, drinks and snacks and entrees. Cons, when I say entrees, I don't mean like full-on restaurant menu, just a small assortment of more unique hot eats, basically. Overall, this one's a 7.5 out of 10. Headed over to Disney's Yacht and Beach Club Resort. We're going to start at the Beach Club Marketplace. So Yacht and Beach Club have some stellar food options around the two resorts, many of which you'll have to be on the lookout for in future videos, because here we're just talking about quick budget dining, right? And then there's Beach Club Marketplace. Now, Beach Club Marketplace is 90% store and 10% eatery, but it does stay open until 11 p.m. just in case you need a light night sandwich. There's no indoor seating here, but you're going to find a few tables just outside of the entrance, including a nice quiet shaded seating area. All in all, the food here is pretty forgettable. My apologies to the Beach Club Marketplace. You do get a baked mac and cheese here, and it's pretty good, but it's not destination worthy or anything. Mostly this is just like, hey, we needed a quick service here and we don't have a quick service here, so here you go. I will say there are also seasonal bakery treats that pop up every so often, so it might be worth checking out the display. It's like a refrigerated display in the middle of the store while you're shopping for your souvenirs. Pros here, late night options available. Bonus, baked mac and cheese, pretty hard to screw up, pretty good. And I will say my experiences with the cast members here have been very, very good. They are very kind and very nice and very helpful. pool. Cons here, forgettable food and really no indoor seating. It's mostly a gift shop. Overall, this is going to be a 6 out of 10. Next up, Hurricane Hannah's Waterside Bar and Grill. We love to see those pool bars that double as quick service locations, and Hurricane Hannah's is definitely that. There aren't a lot of food options here, but you can find Hannah's bacon cheddar cheeseburger, hummus and crudité, seafood roll, along with a selection of mixed alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks. If you are hanging out by Stormalong Bay for the day, this is definitely going to serve your purposes. All in all, it's a great pool bar. Now, it's kind of a stinker if you are going here, but you're not staying at the Yacht and Beach Club because you're right next to that huge Stormalong Bay mini water park with the sand-bottomed pool, life-size shipwreck replica, 230-foot long water slide, lazy river, whirlpool spas, but only people who are staying at the Yacht and Beach Club can use this pool area. So basically, if you go to Hurricane Hannah's and you're not staying here, it's just kind of a tease. However, something cool about this spot, if you order a kid's meal here, it'll be served in a small sand bucket with an attached shovel, basically the same ones they have at the water parks, right? So after your meal, the bucket is perfect for making castles in Stormalong Bay's sandy bottom shallow end. Very, very fun. Pros here, pool bar with entrees and appetizers available till 10 p.m. And kids' meals come with that shovel and bucket they can play with at Stormalong Bay. Cons, can't go pool hopping into Stormalong Bay if you're not a guest at Yacht and Beach. Sorry, Charlie, they absolutely check. And you have to have a wristband to go in. And it's also a pretty limited selection of eats comparatively. Overall, gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. If you're staying at Yacht and Beach Club, but if you're not, since that they've got that teasing element of you can't go into the pool and like go and explore Stormalong Bay, if you're not staying there, then I'm gonna say it's a 6 out of 10. Okay, the market at Ale and Compass. Now, this is basically the same thing as the Beach Club Marketplace, except move it over to Yacht Club. Simplicity is key. It's part of a triage of Ale and Compass dining. You'll also find an Ale and Compass restaurant and the Ale and Compass lounge. But the market portion of this dining threesome focuses mostly on coffee, sandwiches, and grab and go. They've also got a selection of desserts too, but honestly, you got so many other dessert options nearby that are 10 times better. Now, like Beach Club Marketplace, they also have refrigerated sections and dry goods that are mostly for those staying at Disney Vacation Club resorts who have kitchens. But I'm not gonna lie, this stuff has come in really handy for me. Even when I'm just staying in a regular room, you can grab a loaf of bread and some ham and cheese, and there you got some sandwiches ready to go. And while that costs you more than it would at Publix or Kroger, it's definitely not gonna cost you as much as if you bought a ham and cheese sandwich at a Disney restaurant. So pros on this one, it's the cheapest of the 3 Ale and Compass dining options. I guess that's a pro. Cons, dessert options are okay, but not great, and there's really not too much going on here. Again, this is more out of necessity than destination. Overall, this is going to be a 6 out of 10. I will say on this one though, if they have that Italian sandwich going on in the refrigerated section, or if it's on the board and they can heat it up for you, that thing's really good. All right, moving over to the Boardwalk Inn, we're going to go to the Boardwalk Bakery. It's almost difficult to talk about the Boardwalk Inn options right now since this list is going to be completely different in the next year or so. Boardwalk Bakery has been a reliable sweet stop for the DFB team for many, many years. But this little treat shop is going to be replaced by a new sandwich shop after Disney's Boardwalk Inn undergoes its extreme makeover, which is coming up in the next couple years. Back in March, Disney announced that Disney's Boardwalk Inn would be undergoing some major renovations. We're not quite sure what the timeline for all of that looks like yet, but we do know the new cake shop, which will also be opening here, is hoping to serve guests sometime in 2023 or 2024. So if you do get to go to the Boardwalk Bakery before it's switched over, make sure to grab cupcake or one of the seasonal specialty items. They also have some breakfast sandwiches. Sometimes they have some good soups. I really like their tomato bisque there. So again, is it a full-on counter service, quick service place? Not really, but in a pinch, you can find a full meal here. Pros, it's mostly a great place to grab quick and tasty baked goods. Cons, not too much savory stuff here and not too many kind of full meal kind of things. Also, it's going to be replaced soon, so hit it up while you can. Overall, Boardwalk Bakery, 7 out of 10. All right, guess we have to talk about this one, the pizza window. Even though the pizza window is right next to the Trattoria Al Forno table service, don't let that fool you. The quality of the pizza here is not the same as what you'll get in the restaurant. Pizza comes by the slice or as a whole pie, and you've got your standard variety to choose from, like cheese, pepperoni, veggie, and sausage with mushroom. But yeah, it's not the best pizza on Disney World property, but I will say I have had worse. So there we go. It's definitely not the worst on Disney World property. Now, if you buy a full whole large giant pizza, that's going to be more delivery quality pizza, not always great, but the personal pizzas are a little bit better, at least in my experience. Now, this does stay open until 12 a.m., making it a solid late night option for you night owls out there. Pros provides pretty standard pizza from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., and cons, it's relatively subpar. If you're staying at Boardwalk Inn and need a quick bite, then it'll do the job. Otherwise, don't go out of your way. Overall, 5 out of 10. Okay, Boardwalk Joe's Marvelous Margaritas. If you want to stroll the boardwalk with margarita in hand, this kiosk can provide you with that fix. Along with the margs, you can also get an alcoholic Dole Whip smoothie sometimes, called the Captain's Seaside Sensation. There are also a few different snack choices, which don't amount to too much, but there is a jalapeno stuffed pretzel that'll complement your poison of choice very, very nicely. Pros here, margs, wines, beers, and alcoholic smoothies. Also, if you are a jalapeno stuffed pretzel fiend, which a lot of you are, this is a good place to get it outside the parks. Cons, not exciting and not super adventurous, just convenient. Now, those of you who remember when this used to be a coffee place, raise your hand. Overall, this is a 6 out of 10. Next up is the to-go cart. Now, if you truly want to embrace those Carnival Coney Island vibes, you'll want a standard spread of Carnival Coney Island eats. That's where Boardwalk's to-go cart comes in handy. It's a simple cart name for a simple menu. You can order hot dogs, french fries, chips, cheeseburgers, and brisket, along with a few other basic options. The most noteworthy item on this menu are the loaded Boardwalk chips, which are homemade chips loaded with pulled pork, beer cheese, onion, tomato, and jalapeno. Now, if only there was a Ferris wheel and dunk tank nearby. Pros on this one, great and speedy option for pickier eaters. Cons, not super memorable, but it's definitely going to hit the spot if you're starving. Overall, 6 out of 10. And Boardwalk ice cream. It sure is hot out, and you know it would help a nice cold ice cream treat. Boardwalk ice cream replaced Ample Hills Creamery when it went bankrupt and left Disney World. And Boardwalk ice cream is now the go-to spot for to-go frozen treats. This ice cream shop serves Edie's brand ice cream, which is good, but something you can find in a carton at your local grocery store and at other locations in Disney World. There are definitely more unique ice cream options within walking distance of this location. They kind of tried to do Beaches and Cream light here, sort of. It's a nice, reliable treat when you need something portable and don't want to sit to scarf down a ginormous sundae. But don't forget, there's also the Beaches and Cream to-go window just down the way. So pros, it's your spot for ice cream in a jiffy if you happen to be on that side of the boardwalk. Cons, not the best for those looking for those creative sundaes or over-the-top milkshakes. Overall, gonna give this one a 6 out of 10. Now we're headed to Leaping Horse Libations. Hurry, 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 step right up and order yourself a drink over here at the official pool bar of the Luna Park Pool. The pool bar design has major carnival tent vibes going on, which is why you'll be able to find specialty cocktails here like the fruity vodka-based carousel, the rum and strawberry funhouse, and the tropical rum-based roller coaster meltdown. You can also grab a few different eats here until 10 p.m. like the quinoa power bowls, pretzel dogs, and ciabatta pizzas. Pros, carnival drinks at a carnival-themed pool bar. Now that's the Disney theming we know and love. Cons, food is fine. That's about all. Overall, 6.5 out of 10. And let's give a little shout out to the Sweets Corner attached to the Screen Door General Store. There's not a lot going on here, just more bakery items and grab and go options if you need a snack and you don't want to wait. By the way, this is the same stuff you can usually get at the confectionery counters at the Main Street Confectionery in Magic Kingdom or at Goofy's Candy Co. It is time to head to Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, or Caribbean Beach Resort, however you want to say it. Now, Caribbean Beach, listen, you're great and all, but you've done me dirty a few too many times, especially when it comes to dining. Centertown Market is a party. It's got Caribbean tunes, vibrant colors, decor reminiscent of a street market, and light fixtures I kind of want to take home with me and put in my kitchen. It also has a variety of fast casual options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, pulling from island influences, and a selection of standard options too. But I have a weird relationship with this restaurant. Every now and then there'll be an option that I'm like, okay, yeah, that wasn't so bad. But more often than not, I'm walking away from this one disappointed. That being said, there's a lot to choose from here, and it can be a nice option for those staying at Caribbean Beach who need a budget-friendly place to eat. Pros here, variety of unique and more standard options for all types of eaters. Remember that kids menu item that was like an egg lollipop? And there's also lots of seating here, and it's indoors air conditioned. Cons, meals here can be pretty hit or miss, and the grab and go breakfast options are very sparse. Overall, 5 out of 10. Okay, Spyglass Grill. Gonna be real with you here. I often forget Spyglass Grill exists, but it does. And much like Centertown Market, it offers up a variety of island-inspired foods, along with those classic quick-service noshes. This location also is a great spot for those looking for plant-based meals, since Spyglass has options like the Trinidad Crispy Yuca Bowl, the Impossible Burger, and the Black Bean Tacos. Now, one of the reasons this location tends to not be in my brain all the time is its location. If you've never been to Caribbean Beach before, then let me be the first to tell you it is big, like expansive, maybe even bigger than some small towns. So if you're staying at this hotel in the Trinidad area, then great, you'll be able to walk over to Spyglass Grill easy peasy. But if you're located at one of the other buildings, it could be quite a trek to get from your room to this tucked away quick service spot. Pros here, great for those looking for more plant-based options and easily accessible for those staying in Trinidad. Cons, pretty limited seating and can be a rather grueling walk to get here with little payoff since the food is okay, not great. This one's a 5 out of 10 as well. Quick note, friends, Caribbean Beach does have a pool bar, yes, but I'm going to hold off on ranking it just yet and save that for an upcoming video. Why? Well, because Banana Cabana is more than your average pool bar. It serves as both a pool bar and lounge area that makes it hard to just group it in with the other pool bars on property, so stay on the lookout for its overview in our future ranking videos. Spoiler alert, it's really, really good. All right, staying with the moderate resorts, we're heading to Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, which has really impressed me. One of my more recent videos, I really was singing the praises of this place. So let's talk first about Siesta's Cantina. When it comes to food options at the parks, Disney's Coronado Springs is a winner chicken dinner in my books. And that includes its pool bar, Siesta's Cantina, which is located by the main dig site pool area. Just imagine drinks, a robust food selection with options like the deep fried firecracker shrimp, and a stunning view of the lost city of Cibola Pool. Yeah, your day's gonna be set. Also, there's hammocks. Now, pros here, a chill pool bar with a great view and more than just drinks on the menu. Cons, when I say robust selection, I mean in pool bar terms. You're still going to have more options available at other locations around Coronado Springs, so no need to plan to eat here unless you're having a pool day. Overall, 7 out of 10. By the way, quick note, this is one of my very first hotels I ever stayed at Disney World, and this was one of my first favorite pool bars. Okay, Cafe Rick's is certainly interesting right now. Once upon a time, it used to be a pretty reliable pit stop to grab quick snacks throughout the day and on into the evening, but now it's only available between 7 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. If you come here during the breakfast hours, you'll be able to pick up a grab-and-go sandwich to eat then and there, or later on in the day. But the menu items we like most here are the gelato flavors and the several different items featured in the bakery case for a morning or mid-morning pastry. Pros here, if you need a grab-and-go option or a gelato fix, Cafe Rick's has your back. Cons, very limited hours as of now. Gonna give this one a 5 out of 10. Next is the quick service location, El Mercado de Coronado. Now, before El Mercado was a thing, this open-air quick service went by the name of Pepper Market and featured very vibrant Spanish-inspired artwork. But El Mercado takes a much more modern approach to the American and Mexican-influenced dining, yet still continues to provide a variety of options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This quick service should not be overlooked. It's got flatbreads, it's got fresh tossed pasta dishes, it's got chicken tenders, it's got chef's daily entree spotlights, which rotate out regularly. And the best part about it is it's going to appeal to a variety of different eaters, both choosy and adventurous alike. I really enjoyed my most recent meal here, which was just a few weeks ago. It's a lot more standard hotel and not as kind of themed as another Disney hotel would be, because the restaurants in here are not run by Disney, they're run by a third party. That said, still pretty good. Pros here, great option for groups catering to a variety of palates and unique options that rotate out often, so you're going to see something new almost every time you visit. Cons, it can get really busy around peak dining times, and some may miss the more vibrant decor and theming. Overall though, 8 out of 10. Oh, speaking of peak dining times, I was just editing the mobile order section of the DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining the other day, and there's this really important section we have in there about when to mobile order at these quick service locations. If you wait until peak dining times to place your order, pickup times may not be available for several hours, and those physical lines can get really long. So try to order a late lunch or an early dinner, and book your mobile order ahead of time to avoid the longest lines for these quick services. Okay, back to the rankings. We're headed to the Deluxe Resort, Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa next, and we're headed to Gasparilla Island Grille. Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa loves its classy places to dine, but there's a lot to be said about this unsung counter service Gasparilla Island Grille. It's one of my favorites, honestly, and it didn't used to be, so things have definitely changed recently. Now, Gasparilla Island Grille overlooks the Grand Floridian Marina, meaning you can also see Cinderella Castle off in the distance. Everyone say hi to Cindy's place. And the restaurant is located on the first floor of the hotel and offers an assortment of options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For breakfast, you'll have that average spread of Mickey-shaped waffles and scrambled eggs to choose from, but for lunch and dinner, you'll be able to order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and burgers. This used to be a location that was open 24 hours. It is not any longer, just a heads up. But the absolute best thing to order here is the chef's specialty, the house-made macaroni and cheese. I know I rave about mac and cheese a lot, and I like all different kinds of mac and cheese, but this is my favorite in Disney World at the moment, and that's a big deal coming from me. Pros, the best mac and cheese to ever grace your taste buds, and an actual cheaper option at a not-so-cheap resort. Cons, not overly themed or anything. Aside from the castle view, the dining room is pretty plain Jane, and not the best for more adventurous eaters. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Courtyard Pool Bar is next. Belly up to the bar and order a cocktail, beer, or wine, and if you're hungry, grab yourself a chicken, turkey, or portobello mushroom wrap, or maybe one of their seasonal desserts. Not much else to say about this one unless you've got an epic Courtyard Pool Bar story to share in the comments. Please let us know. Pros, always nice to see another pool bar with food offerings. Cons, nothing too thrilling over here, just standard drinks and standard eats. Overall, 5 out of 10. Now, you know what Grand Floridian Pool Bar is more exciting than the Courtyard one? This one, Beach's Pool Bar and Grill, is a cute little gazebo with actually unique entrees like lobster sliders and a grilled portobello sandwich, along with specialty cocktails like the rum-based Captain's Mai Tai and the minty vodka-based cucumber and mint mojito. You can also get a few fun non-alcoholic beverages here like theme lemonades and fruit-tastic smoothies. Pros, the food might be limited, but what they do have branches out from typical pool bar fare, and cons, no food offerings after 6 p.m. Quick note here, this is usually just for people staying at the Grand Floridian. So like the Cove Bar at Contemporary or Magi Pool Bar at Animal Kingdom Lodge, this might be just for folks who have a key card to stay here. Okay, next we are headed to Disney's Old Key West Resort to Goods Food to Go. Now, Disney's Old Key West isn't somewhere that pops up on my best of radar often unless you're talking about Olivia's, but they do have some solid options for guests staying at the hotel. Goods Food to Go is a takeout window with fairly standard but reliable breakfast, lunch, and dinner options. If you want a unique take on that same old pineapple Dole Whip, you can order a key lime swirl here, made with lime Dole Whip, vanilla soft serve, and topped with graham cracker crumbs. Just don't feel like you have to travel out to this one if you don't have a room here, because you're not missing that much. Pros, a nice quick option for Old Key West guests, and cons, pretty typical items here, so you're not really missing out if you don't go. Basically, 5 out of 10. And let's talk about Turtle Shack poolside snacks. I think I like the vibe of Turtle Shack more than the actual food. Like, the food's not bad, it's just nothing to write home about. You've got your average pizza, salad, nachos, sandwich options, along with a plethora of alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. But after you get your food and drink, you can check out the pool, hot tub, shuffleboard court, and game room. Pros here, good beachy vibes overall. Cons, it's open seasonally. Overall, 5 out of 10. Next, we're headed over to Disney's Polynesian Village Resort to Captain Cook's. Whether you're dining at a quick service kiosk, table service, or signature restaurant at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, each menu has a similar Polynesian theme. You're going to find Pan-Asian influences on each menu, or maybe just something flat out tropical in some kiosks. At Captain Cook's, you'll be able to order island-inspired lunch and dinner options like the Thai coconut meatballs and the Pan-Asian noodles and vegetables. Granted, these noodles aren't nearly as good as the ones you're going to find at Ohana or Tambu Lounge, but hey, it's a cheaper offering and they're not too shabby for something quick and easy. I just had them a few weeks ago, and honestly, oddly, it tasted healthier than anything else I'd eaten in Disney World, which just goes to show what my palate is like over there. Now, there's also an American entrees menu if you're not looking to venture out much for lunch. During breakfast, you can order a signature breakfast staple of the resort here, the Tonga Toast. It'll actually be cheaper to order the Tonga Toast here at Captain Cook's than it will be over at the Kona Cafe table service. Captain Cook's Tonga Toast will cost cost you $10.49, while Kona Cafe will charge you $17, just because that one comes with a strawberry compote. It's literally the only difference. Now, back in the good old days, if you remember, Captain Cook's used to have an all-you-can-eat self-serve Dole Whip station, and if that were still the case, I'd just go on ahead and hike this quick service up to a 10 out of 10. If you remember also, that used to be a 24/7 location. It was open 24/7, so you could basically get a Dole Whip any time of day, except for the 1 hour a day that they cleaned the machine, which I am fully aware of when that happened, and I have a picture of it happening. But gone are the days of endless pineapple goodness. However, if you are trying to fight off a sweet tooth, Captain Cook still has a little bakery with rotating seasonal selections. You just can't get an endless supply of them. Go figure. Pros here, both indoor and outdoor seating available. You can even sit next to a waterfall, though you may get misted on while you're there. And it's much cheaper Tonga toast option. Cons, Pan-Asian noodles are somewhat subpar compared to Ohana noodles, but they try their best and we appreciate that. And the indoor dining room can get cramped during peak dining times, so plan accordingly. Captain Cook's, 8 out of 10. Now, there are pool bars, and then there are tiki-themed pool bars. Barefoot Pool Bar isn't exactly a tropical hideaway, but it does serve a lot of cocktails, and many of these cocktails feature Dole Whip as a key ingredient. Dole Whip's kind of Polynesian Village's thing here. You can also order from a full food menu here. Fresh options like the black pepper Parmesan chicken wings, the grilled fish tacos, and the malasadas, which are Portuguese donuts served with passion fruit curd. By the way, you see that Voyager drink on the menu? That one mixes rum, coconut, pineapple juice, blue curacao, and pineapple Dole Whip. And yeah, before it was called the Voyager, it was a DFB snack hack. That's right. Our reporter Amber actually created that drink, and the bartender put it on the menu with an actual name. So pros, lots of Dole Whip drinks and lots of unique food options. Cons, food stops being served around 8 p.m. Overall, Barefoot Pool Bar gets about a 7 out of 10. Okay, next, Pineapple Lanai. Hello, yes, hi, I love Pineapple Lanai. Can you get a substantial breakfast, lunch, or dinner here? No, but you can get Dole Whip, and I love me some Dole Whip. Along with a traditional pineapple Dole Whip, Pineapple Lanai also switches things up regularly with exclusive and seasonal Dole Whip concoctions you're not going to find anywhere else. They've also got a lot of different flavors. Just check the placard up front for the little magnets that tell you what flavors they have that day. And you can usually swirl the flavors, so my favorite is of course going to be the orange raspberry or the lemon lime. So pros here, lots of Dole Whip. Cons, don't like Dole Whip, keep moving right along. Overall, this is an 8 out of 10 for us. And I got another Polynesian pool bar for you, but this one's a bit more restricted. Now, the great thing about the Oasis Pool Bar and Grill is that it relies heavily on the grill portion of its name, so expect to find lots more food offerings here than you would at other pool bars. We're talking salads, calamari, burgers, chicken wings, the works, alongside fun and fruity drinks, of course. The downside, you can only order food and drinks here if you're staying as a Polynesian Resort Village guest. The bar is located inside the gated pool area, meaning you can only access it via key card loaded onto your Magic Band, Magic Mobile, or physical card. Pros here, lots more food offerings than your average pool bar. Cons, only available for Polynesian Village Resort guests. Overall, 7 out of 10. Okay, here we go. Kona Island. Now, don't confuse Kona Island with Kona Cafe. Kona Cafe is a table service restaurant we're going to talk about later, while Kona Island is a counter service that'll serve coffee and pastries by morning and sushi rolls and mini desserts by afternoon. Oh, and it'll still have coffee then too, because coffee can be some people's most important meal of the day. In all seriousness, please remember to drink water too. Pros, need coffee and a small snack? Kona Island knows what'll hit the spot. There's also pretty fun sushi here. Cons, not the best if you're looking for a meal because you're only going to get a couple sushi options here, so go to Kona Cafe for sushi instead. Overall, this is a 6 out of 10, but they do have chocolate covered bacon, so maybe it's a 6.5. Now, bonus Polynesian entry. Every now and then, Okalani's Shave Ice will pop up by the resort's marina, not too terribly far from Trader Sam's Tiki Terrace. And when it does pop up, you'll find, shave ice. If that shocked anyone, I'm not going to apologize. That's your own fault. I love this stuff. I could eat it year round, so it's a real pleasant treat when I do see it open and looking to serve up some of that sweet and icy goodness. All right, I've been waiting for this one. Time to head over to Disney's Port Orleans Resort French Quarter. Sassagoula Floatworks and Food Factory, everybody. If you're looking for quick eats, Disney's Port Orleans French Quarter is all about the quick eats. Now I know I said some of these hotels don't really have destination eats. These are destination eats. In fact, you're not even going to find a table or signature restaurant over in this neck of the bayou. It's all about Sassagoula and, of course, the beignets, which we'll talk about in just a second. Sassagoula Floatworks is a food court-style quick service with Cajun-inspired menu options alongside good old classic theme park staples like burgers, chicken strips, and pizza. As far as the New Orleans specialty items are concerned, you can grab gumbo, some of my very favorite jambalaya on property, shrimp and grits, and other Southern comfort classics. Pros here, a variety of different eats for a variety of different eaters, and plenty of seating. Cons, no beignets here. You gotta head over to Scat Cat's Lounge for those bad boys. And if you live in the South, don't expect this to be the best Cajun cooking ever. You definitely have better options back home. But the variety here is still nice. Another con, sometimes the Mardi Gras parade floats are a little scary. Overall, 7 out of 10. Next is Mardi Gras. First off, can we talk about how clever the name of this pool bar is? Mardi Gras. I love the play on words here, but a pool bar is more than its name. For the most part, Mardi Gras is a pretty standard pool bar with a few sandwich options, and by a few, I mean very few, but the good news is that if none of these foods tickle your fancy, Sassagoula isn't too terribly far away, so you can get a drink here and a meal over in the food court. Pros, fun name, serious drinkage. Cons, food items leave something to be desired. Overall, 5 out of 10. Now, there are 2 neighboring Scat Cats clubs at Port Orleans French Quarter. One is a lounge, which I'll talk about at a later date, and the other is a Scat Cats Club Cafe, which I'll talk about right now. The Scat Cats Club Cafe hits the beignet jackpot. Not only can you get the traditional Mickey beignets here in all their fried powdered sugar glory, but you can also get a Mickey-shaped beignet sundae or the booze-filled Baton Rouge beignets with your choice of Bailey's Irish Cream liqueur, Kahlua liqueur, or rum chata liqueur. This cafe also has seasonal beignets like gingerbread around Christmas and pumpkin spice around Halloween. They have cinnamon ones at Valentine's Day. Now, the cafe opens at 6 a.m. and is available all day long. So if you're still half asleep and need a little beignet action to wake you up, Scat Cats Club has your back. Not to mention, if you swing by in the evening, you might be able to catch a live jazz performance at the neighboring Scat Cats Club lounge, maybe get some savory beignets. Pros, best for those who want an early morning beignet or an afternoon beignet or, a beignet anytime. And it also has a small selection of coffees and teas. Cons, not best for those who want anything other than a beignet, but who even are you? And looking for more savory options, you're going to want to head to the lounge next door or over to Sassagoula Floatworks. Overall, this is going to be a 9 out of 10. And next door, Disney's Port Orleans Resort Riverside. Let's talk Riverside Mill Food Court. If you take a quick boat ride or afternoon walk from Port Orleans French Quarter, you'll wind up over at the resort's sibling hotel, Disney's Port Orleans Riverside. And there you'll find another food court styled quick service. That being said, Riverside Mill Food Court's offerings aren't too terribly different from Sassagoula's. You're still going to find Cajun inspired options here that overlap the offerings back at the French Quarter, along with a couple unique options thrown in the mix, like the Bayou Amber Ale burger made with spicy shredded prime rib and an amber ale cheese sauce. It's a nice diverse option for those staying at Riverside, but if you're heading over here from French Quarter with the sole purpose of finding something lots different, you might be a little disappointed, but you're not going to get the jambalaya here, I don't think. Pros, lots of seating here, indoors, air conditioned. It's also good for larger groups who need to cater to a variety of palates. Cons, if you're staying at French Quarter, nothing here is extremely different from what you're going to find over there. And though the food court stays open till 11 p.m., not all stations may remain open until that late, so you could have a more limited selection after coming back from the parks at the end of the night. Overall, 7 out of 10 here as well. All right, we're heading over to Muddy River's Pool Bar. If you're planning on a lazy afternoon floating on the waters of Old Man Island Pool, then you'll probably need a cocktail or two to make the day all the more relaxing. Just like the French Quarter and Riverside food courts, a lot of the specialty drinks at both Mardi Gras and Muddy Rivers overlap. So if you want a Port Orleans specialty drink, you'll want to grab the Nola Cola, Front Porch Breeze, or the Hurricane, each of which is made with different fruity flavors and rum. Can't forget the rum. And if you can't decide on which of the 3 to choose, may I recommend a combination of them all. No, seriously, you can do that when you order the All That Jazz cocktail. Suddenly your indecisive nature has paid off. Pros here, unique New Orleans inspired sips, and cons, it's much like Mardi Gras and it's a pool bar that has a very limited food menu. Overall, 6 out of 10. Okay, we're going to Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa next, starting at the Artist Palette. Much like Disney's Old Key West, the food offerings at Disney's Saratoga Springs don't get talked about a lot, but again, that's because the resort can be kind of out of the way for a lot of folks, unless you're at Disney Springs and for some reason don't want to eat at one of their dozens of top-notch restaurants. But if you are planning on staying at Saratoga, then you need to know about Artist Palette. This is Saratoga's quick service spot that shares space with the resort's grocery market, which is where a lot of DVC members stock up for their extended stay. This place, super artsy, yet another restaurant where the drippy, colorful light fixtures are something I want to take home and hang from the ceiling in my own dining room. And the flatbreads here aren't those standard theme park flatbreads. They're made in a brick oven, my favorite kind. Along with flatbreads, this restaurant also serves items like lemon tarragon roasted chicken, cheesesteak sandwiches, and a plant-based gyro. Pros on this one: a creative atmosphere with lovely paintings and glass-blown light fixtures, and the flatbreads are made in a brick oven, so better than puffy pizza. Cons: more diverse options, just a hop, skip, and a jump away over in Disney Springs, and the grocery store and restaurant share a space, so peak dining times can get busy. Overall, this one's a 7 out of 10. All right, Paddock Grill. So what makes the Paddock Grill so special? Well, it's one of those rare pool bars that doesn't just have food options for lunch and dinner, but for breakfast too. You can order morning munchies like breakfast quiche, croissant sandwiches, and assorted pastries, because when you're on vacation, no one can tell you it's too early to eat a muffin alongside your margarita. As for lunch and dinner, you'll have options like shrimp tacos, fried chicken sandwiches, or just an order of house-made Saratoga chips for a quick bite before your dip in the pool. Pros on this one: a pool bar with options for the 3 most important meals of the day. And cons: if you're not staying at Saratoga Springs, the food and drink options really aren't worth going out of your way for. Overall, 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to the Backstretch Pool Bar and On the Rocks Pool Bar. We're grouping these two together since they're super similar. There are only a few differences between the two. First difference: location. Backstretch is over at the Grandstand Pool, while On the Rocks is over at the High Rock Springs Pool. Second difference: Backstretch has a small selection of entrees and snacks, while On the Rocks is strictly drinks. Third difference: Backstretch opens seasonally, so it could be closed during your visit, depending on the time of year. Pros: convenient drinks near both of Saratoga's pools. Cons: possibility that Backstretch won't be open. Overall, 5 out of 10. And Chippendale's Cafe. Raise your hand if you had no idea this existed, right? You're going to have to go on a scavenger hunt to track this one down. Chippendale's Cafe is located just off of Disney's Lake Buena Vista Golf Course, which, yes, is still at Saratoga Springs. Now, granted, if you're not about to go out on the course for an afternoon of birdies and yelling 4, then there's really no need for you to actually go on a scavenger hunt for this place. It's got a couple breakfast options, some deli sandwiches, an assortment of hot dogs, and some quesadillas too, but it's pretty out of the way for all you non-golfers. Pros: best for those looking for a quick bite before a round on the golf course. Cons: pretty far off the beaten path, and if the weather's bad, it's really not worth it since there's only outdoor seating. Overall, 5 out of 10. Headed to Disney's Riviera Resort next, and starting at Le Petit Cafe. Disney's Riviera has good vibes all around. Sure, the rooms might be cramped and pricey, but you can also find affordable-ish eats and drinks here like Le Petit Cafe. This one is like stepping into your own little corner of Paris for a bit. You can grab a coffee, cocktail, or seasonal dessert here. And don't forget they have a great almond cold brew with honey almond whipped cream and lavender iced tea lemonade. If you're looking for something more substantial for lunch or dinner, you're better off going to the next entry on this list, though Le Petit Cafe does have a charcuterie and artisanal cheese board that could help hold you over in the afternoon. Pros: best for those looking for coffee shop vibes and tasty coffee selections. Cons: pastry options are good, but you might be better off picking up something from Amaret's Patisserie if you plan on visiting Disney Springs. These are kind of fancy and kind of pricey. No substantial lunch or dinner options here either. Overall, we're going to give this one an 8 out of 10. And Primo Piatto. Now here's where you're going to find those quick service Italian inspired dishes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Primo Piatto serves up options like hearth baked pizzas, croque monsieurs, and grilled vegetable skewers. Are you getting back from the parks really late but can't go to bed without a quick bite to eat? Primo Piatto also has a limited menu for late night munching since the restaurant's open until 10 p.m. Another cool thing about this place, it's got an open kitchen so you can watch the Riviera chefs whipping up your meal lickety split. Pros: very accessible for Riviera guests, providing breakfast, lunch, dinner, grab-and-go options, and late-night dining. And there's a modern dining area with an open kitchen. Also, heads up, if you're staying at Caribbean Beach Resort, this is an easy walk, at least from the side of the resort that's closer to Riviera. Cons: doesn't have many of the classic theme park food offerings aside from burgers, so pickier eaters might not enjoy the options as much here. Late-night dining also has very limited options currently, so don't expect a full-on meal after you get back from watching one of the park's nighttime spectaculars. Overall, Primo Piatto, 7 out of 10. All right, we're in the home stretch now, friends. Have you already forgotten about like half the restaurants I've named? No worries, just don't forget we've got a free PDF download of this entire list over at disneyfoodblog.com/budgeteats. All right, we're going to Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort and starting at the Chuck Wagon. Sometimes the best places to eat are the most inconspicuous places, like at Disney's Fort Wilderness, straight out of a retro RV, for instance. Now, we don't talk about the Chuck Wagon nearly enough here on the channel, probably because it's tricky to get to if you're not staying at Fort Wilderness itself. It serves up burgers, sandwiches, salads, wraps, and some fun moonshine cocktails. But best of all, this is a second location where you can find my precious corn dog nuggets that I adore over at Casey's Corner, so rev up those fryers. So pros on this one, great campsite theming. Who doesn't want to order something out of an RV? Moonshine cocktails and corn dog nuggies, what's not to love? Cons, it's very out of the way to get here. So if you're not staying at Fort Wilderness, probably not a destination location for you. And there's no covered seating area. So if it's threatening to storm, those exposed picnic tables will not do you a whole lot of good. Overall, this is an 8 out of 10, mostly for just what it is. Meadow Snack Bar is next. And because swimming wears you down, Meadow Snack Bar is there to pick you up. Along with your alcoholic beverages, you've got a small selection of standard eats to choose from, like pizza, hot dogs, and chili cheese hot dogs. You can also grab something more snacky like apple slices or more desserty like a Mickey Premium Bar. But be warned, if a storm's a brewing off in the distance, the Meadow Snack Bar might close up shop. Pros, drinks and eats to perk up your pool day. Cons, may be closed for inclement weather. This is pretty basic. Overall, it's a 5 out of 10. And P&J's Southern Takeout is next. We actually have a shaded area to eat this time, maybe. P&J's Southern Takeout is your place for fast food, comfort food. You can order a family meal here with barbecued ribs, fried chicken, or a combination of both, which will serve up to 4 people for around $23 to $27, which is super cheap for a Disney World meal for 1 person, much less 4 people. But if you're not in the mood for barbecue, you can always grab a family-sized pizza or just a sandwich for yourself instead. P&J's also has a bakery case with some cute, sweet stuff like the chicken dinner cupcake trio that came in with the 50th anniversary and the campfire s'mores cupcake. Is it true that the cuter the cupcake, the tastier it is? Not exactly, but there's still a nice treat after a savory meal. Pros, awesome family meals that can help save money for your group and lots of dessert options to choose from. Cons on this one, again, Fort Wilderness is really out of the way to get to if you're not staying here, and there are only a few shaded tables nearby, but not many, so they could all be taken during those peak dining times. Overall, 8 out of 10. All right, bet you didn't realize how many budget restaurants and pool bars are featured all throughout the Disney World resorts, huh? But now you do. Yay, you. I think it took me about a week to record this whole thing. So I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to head over to disneyfoodblog.com/budgeteats and get this whole thing in PDF form. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for watching. Please drop your thoughts in the comments below. It helps the rest of our viewers so much to see your personal experiences too. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.